The silence in my home office was usually a comfort, a blank canvas for my work. But today, it felt heavy, ominous. It was my first day using a babysitter I hadn't known since birth. My usual sitter, Mrs. Higgins, who smelled of lavender and always brought homemade cookies, had moved away. I was desperate. A client presentation, the biggest of my freelance career, was due in 48 hours. My 6-month-old daughter Lily needed care. So I turned to an agency. Elite Care, they were called. They promised thoroughly vetted, certified professionals. They sent me Anna's profile. Her photo showed a warm, open face. Her resume was impeccable. CPR certified, childhood education degree, glowing letters of recommendation that spoke of her patience and warmth. On paper, she was perfect. When she arrived, she was punctual, dressed in clean, professional clothes. She had a calm energy. When I handed Lily to her, my daughter, who usually buried her face in my neck with strangers, looked up at Anna with wide, curious eyes and let out a happy gurgle. It felt like a sign. A weight lifted from my shoulders. She usually naps around 10, I told Anna, showing her the nursery. The bottles are in the fridge. My number is on the fridge. Don't hesitate to call for anything. Anna smiled, a bright, reassuring smile. We'll be just fine, won't we, Lily? She cooed, bouncing my daughter gently on her hip. You get to your work. We have some playing to do. I retreated to my office, shut the door, and for the first hour, everything was fine. I could hear the distant, comforting sounds of Lily's babbling and Anna's gentle sing-song responses. I let myself believe it was all going to work out. The first prickle of unease came with the silence. It fell over the house like a thick blanket. The babbling had stopped. The sing-song voice was gone. It was 10:15. She's just putting her down for the nap, I told myself, pushing down the maternal instinct that was screaming in the back of my skull. You're being paranoid. This is why you hired a professional. Trust the process. But the silence stretched on, becoming deeper, more absolute. My eyes flicked from my complicated spreadsheet to the baby monitor on my desk. The old-fashioned audio-only kind. I'd never felt the need for a video monitor before. Our house was small, and Mrs. Higgins had been like family. Now, I regretted that decision fiercely. My heart began a low, steady thump against my ribs. I needed a visual. I needed to see my daughter breathing. I remembered that the Wi-Fi-enabled camera we used for security in the living room had an app. It could be panned to see into the hallway, and from the right angle, you could just see a sliver of the nursery through the open door. It was a long shot, but it was something. With fumbling fingers, I opened the security app on my phone. The live feed loaded. I panned the camera slowly, adjusting the angle until I found it, that narrow view into the nursery. I could see the edge of the crib, and I could see Anna. She wasn't rocking in the chair. She was standing over the crib, her back to the camera. Her posture was wrong. It wasn't the relaxed slouch of someone watching a sleeping baby. It was tense, purposeful. And she was on her phone. A fresh wave of irritation washed over me. Already? On her phone while she's supposed to be watching my child? I was about to close the app, my mind drafting a stern but polite text about phone usage, when I saw her lean forward. Her head tilted, and I realized she wasn't scrolling through social media. The way she was holding the phone, the focused angle. She was on a video call. My blood went cold. Who takes a video call while standing over someone else's sleeping infant? I turned up the volume on my phone to its maximum, pressing it against my ear. The audio was tinny, filtered through the camera's cheap microphone and the distance of the hallway, but it was clear enough. Anna's voice, low and measured, cut through the static. The key is to make it look completely natural, she was saying, her tone as calm as if she were discussing the weather. No bruises, no signs of a struggle. The autopsy will be inconclusive. You just position them on their stomach, even if they always sleep on their back. The statistics are on your side. The police and the coroner, they'll just see another tragic, unexplained case of SIDS. The world stopped. SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. The words echoed in the silent chamber of my mind. This wasn't a theoretical discussion. She wasn't reading an article. She was giving a lesson, a tutorial. And my daughter, my Lily, was the live demonstration model. I watched, paralyzed, as she gestured with her free hand towards the crib. The person on the other end of the call, a faceless voice I couldn't hear, said something. Anna nodded, a small, professional smile touching her lips. It was the most terrifying expression I'd ever seen. Of course. The prop placement is critical. My brain snagged on the word. Property. She had called my daughter a prop. Let me show you the proper pillow placement to gently restrict breathing without leaving a single mark. Her hand moved, slow and deliberate, towards the small, decorative lace-trimmed pillow that lay in the far corner of the crib. A pillow I had put there because it matched the nursery theme. A pillow that was now being positioned as a weapon. Every instinct in my body was screaming, a primal siren of terror and rage. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I was a ghost, watching a nightmare unfold on a 3-inch screen. This was happening, in my home, to my child. The person on the phone was a client. Anna was a consultant, a contractor for infanticide. The impeccable resume, the glowing references. It was all a facade for a predator who had walked right through my front door. The paralysis broke. A cold, sharp clarity descended over me. I couldn't burst in screaming. What if she panicked? What if she hurt Lily before I could get to her? I needed evidence. I needed to trap her. My eyes darted around my office, my work laptop, the recording software I used for client presentations. It could record system audio. It could record the audio from my phone's app. I fumbled with the cables, my hands shaking so violently I could barely plug the audio jack into my laptop. I mirrored my phone's screen to my computer, opened the recording software, and hit record. On the screen, Anna was still talking, her voice a steady, monstrous drone. Timing is everything. You need to ensure you have a solid alibi. Be seen on a neighborhood walk just beforehand. The disorientation when they discover the body needs to look genuine. I listened, my stomach churning as I grabbed my own phone. I didn't call 911. Not yet. I texted my neighbor, Mark, a single, urgent message. My house, front door, now, police, baby in danger. He was an ex-Marine built like a refrigerator. He would be there in 60 seconds. I then called 911, my voice a hissed whisper. I have an intruder, a woman, attempting to kill my infant daughter in the nursery. Send police. Silent approach. My neighbor is en route to secure the front door. The dispatcher tried to keep me on the line, but I hung up. My recording was still running. Anna was now demonstrating, with chilling precision, how to check for a pulse without leaving a fingerprint. I had to move. The evidence was being captured. Now I had to be the cavalry. The police arrived moments later. The recording on my laptop, with its crystal clear audio of Anna's murderous tutorial, was all the evidence they needed. A search of her backpack revealed a nightmare. Multiple fake IDs, several burner phones, a ledger with coded entries listing families, addresses, and dates, and a flash drive containing what appeared to be similar instructional videos. Anna wasn't just a rogue babysitter. She was part of a sophisticated, profit-driven ring that catered to parents or caregivers who wanted out of their responsibilities permanently. The woman on the phone was identified and arrested in a different state later that day. My client presentation became an afterthought. My boss, when I explained the situation, gave me an extension without a second thought. Nothing mattered but the weight of Lily, safe and alive in my arms. The elite care agency was shuttered and faced an avalanche of lawsuits. Their vetting process had been a sham. They had trusted a piece of paper, a forged smile, but for the families on Anna's list, their carelessness was a potential death sentence. Anna and her client are now in prison, their lives over. They thought they were clever. They thought they were invisible, operating in the shadows of family homes. But they forgot that a mother's instinct is the most powerful force on earth. And for them, karma finally caught up.